This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, plus it actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, trojans, spyware, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. Speaking of tech safety, LastPass had some sort of a incident that was revealed this week. It is the second or third such incident in 2022. It has been quite an active year for them. In the past, the problems have been surface level, access to technical but not data levels of the system. Particularly, the last one was access to the source code for the software into their development environment. This time, however, what became available may have been customer data. Now, LastPass is kind of known for not opening up entirely about what's going on, and that seems to be the case here. They're being very vague in their wording on what customer data may have been accessed. And in fact, they don't go into any specifics on what might have been accessed. And instead, what we find out is that the incident began in August of this year, 2022, and involves the access of data through a third-party cloud storage service attached to LastPass. So in 2020, they announced that their data storage was going to be exclusive to AWS. So I think we could make the assumption that it was AWS, and they're trying not to put their name out there. Because it's certainly not Amazon's fault that LastPass had data available in some way, shape, or form. My concern, Avram, is that they're not saying what was accessed. Now, that could mean that the data that was accessed is trivial, or it could mean that it's the password, the synced password directory. Who knows? What do you think?
Do they have a legal responsibility in any way?
It's a fair question.
To disclose?
It's a fair question, and I don't know the answer to that question. I did some research earlier trying to look up what their responsibility is. I couldn't find a whole lot for here in the US. In the EU, obviously, there's all kinds of hard and fast rules on disclosures. So it's possible that this is one of those, and they've worded it wrong, right? That this is one of those situations where they're like, we're still trying to figure out what was touched. And they didn't say those words. I'm hoping that's what it is. I'm hoping that they just discovered the thing. It's been going on for a couple of months, and what they're doing now is doing a forensic audit to see what data was touched and what might be vulnerable. That's what I'm hoping. And that they just weren't great about saying it.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope so. But even there, that's not great because if they don't know what was touched, that still means that it could be, you have to assume the worst.
Exactly.
So is this another, first of all, this isn't the first time this has happened to them.
Right.
Second of all, should you trust your password manager? I don't know.
Right. I have always been super
encrypted, right?
I've always been super weary of password managers, personally. So, I don't let my phone store anything. First thing I do on my browser is I turn off. You don't even ask me about saving stuff. because I've always been weary of this. And now with the synced password thing, that doesn't seem better to me. Even if it is encrypted, the last breach accessed the development environment. They could have the key.
Yeah, I don't know what a good, is it better to have something where you have the key that's like local and not cloud, like KeyPass or something like that? I don't know.
Potentially. If it's not like a universal key, at least that's better, right? If the algorithm for generating the key is discovered and there's some reverse engineering that can be done on it, then the keys can be discovered. But encryption is not infallible. It's made by people. So it's not infallible. I don't know.
I guess we'll find out. But if you're on LastPass, change your stuff, which could be really annoying because could be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know it's really popular with older people who have trouble remembering their passwords, and they use LastPass in particular. It's really popular for them because it'll generate and then hold and all of that. They don't have to worry about anything. But then now we get into a situation where, on top of it all, if you let it generate the password, you may not know it. That's not better.
Yep.
So it's definitely a concern. Obviously, if you're using it, our recommendation is update your credentials. Make sure, and this is always the case, if two-factor authentication is an option, use it. It's at least like putting a padlock on your front door. Sure, if you kick hard enough, you can knock it down. But at least it's one more barrier to entry. So add two-factor authentication, update your credentials, and hold off on updating that information into LastPass until we know. Possibly consider an offline key or a private key solution or something going forward. But definitely update your credentials for anything LastPass, because we don't know if they're out there. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.